Trouble in paradise? There are growing signs that the Sussex's marriage is doomed. Hello and welcome to Princess Diana's news channel. Trying to figure out what's really going on with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's behavior isn't easy, guys. And that's why we predicted time and time again that they would be on the verge of divorce. Now I still think there's something wrong with that. I still believe that all is not well in Montecito. There are simply too many signs that we can't ignore them and accept Meghan and Harry's story that they are perfectly happy with each other. And the fact that they're putting on this big show to try to convince us that they're still together and that they're still very much in love, it doesn't work. So the first article I want to talk about is in OK Magazine. According to OK Magazine, Harry is indeed trying to find new accommodation in the United Kingdom. As we reported earlier this year, coincidentally or not, shortly after Spare's release, King Charles told Meghan and Harry that it was time for them to pack their bags and move out of Frogmore Cottage. However, some report that it was an expulsion. It was not so much an eviction as it was King Charles's decision not to renew the lease on the chalet. But the end result was always the same: Meghan and Harry were outside. They are no longer allowed to use Frogmore Cottage. With this decision, of course, Meghan and Harry have officially found themselves with nowhere to stay when they visit the UK. Harry was told he couldn't book a room in a palace, but he had to let him know in advance, which he apparently didn't want to do. So he didn't even accept their offer, according to OK Magazine. Harry is really looking for accommodation in the UK. They say this despite Meghan Markle's reservations, then add that a source reported that there were differences between the spouses on the issue, but that they would soon begin looking for their own property near London. And Harry definitely leads. Well, obviously Harry is the one driving it. Come on, why would Meghan want to be closer to her in-laws? After everything he said about them, after everything he did to try to ruin them? And not just Harry's family, but think about everything they said about British citizens. Yes, I hope Meghan Markle doesn't want to go back to London. This article therefore indicates that Harry wants archofficial and Invisibet, quote, to develop by understanding their British roots. Well, since kids don't exist, I'm not sure they're capable of understanding their roots, but whatever happens, let's move on. So, the friend says that it is not out of the question to use a small apartment at Kensington Palace from time to time, but if it is a house in the United Kingdom, they will buy it themselves. Now, if we're to believe it, that means Harry is at least planning to spend a lot more time in the UK than he has of late. So what does this mean for Meghan? Should Meghan accompany him? I do not believe. And according to what Tina Brown claims, it is very unlikely that Meghan would agree to such a thing. In September, Tina said she felt England had rejected her. She rejects him and finds him cold and boring, and during an appearance on Sky News Australia, Tina Brown said that there was nothing for her and that she loved the Hollywood scene and that's where she wants to be. So when you think about everything that's going on between them, when you step back and look at their lives as a whole, the picture becomes pretty clear: they are going in different directions. We keep getting all these articles about Meghan's next career move, whether or not she might meet Tyler Perry, and that's why they're in Atlanta. I'm not sure, but whatever. And then at the same time we hear all this news that Harry is happy when he's in the UK. He wants to go back. It's also important to remember that Meghan and Harry definitely contributed to these articles. It's not like they're written by an unbiased, objective person. 9th. These are pieces of puff pastry. Honestly, it seems to me that they are trying to argue irreconcilable differences. They're making it so that when we finally hear about the divorce, they hope people will say, oh, well, but they had such different life paths. I mean, we can't blame them. Essentially, this would provide an easy way out for Meghan and Harry. I think they want to fix things so that it seems like there was some sort of outside influence that led them to divorce. They want us, the audience, to believe that they were just two crazy kids trying to make it, but unfortunately love wasn't enough. And then at the same time, as we learn that Harry is looking for a new home in London, we hear these headlines like, Prince Harry is trying to avoid being overshadowed by Meghan Markle. This is in the Express. And this Express article specifies that Harry does not want to be overshadowed by Meghan. April Glover said that, fortunately for Harry, his time in Düsseldorf for the games was not overshadowed by any royal scandals or cruel headlines regarding her and Meghan. What I understand is that Harry is trying to tell me not to associate with Meghan. I continue my own business that I think Harry really wants to showcase the work he does. He doesn't want Meghan to be a distraction anymore. There's also an article in the Mirror detailing what a body language expert has to say about Harry and Meghan. The headline reads, Harry and Meghan stopped being openly passionate and toned down their affection. Body language expert Darren Stanton steps in and knows his stuff, things. So he explained how their relationship has evolved, quote, touching on how the couple's public displays of affection have changed dramatically over the years. Mr. Stanton said that when they started dating and established themselves as an official couple, they were very affectionate in public, almost more affectionate than William and Kate. But, he said, I have the feeling that lately they have softened a little, that I have seen that their eye contact has decreased and they are no longer as tactile with each other. Even though they love each other and do everything to support each other, we tend not to consider them as openly passionate. Well, who could forget how they behaved in public? I mean, their hands on top of each other, his claw still digging into Harry's arm. And that's not what we're seeing right now. I mean, even in this weird, maybe AI photo of them from the Caribbean, they're not even holding hands. As another body language expert said, they're about to hold hands, but they can't even make it work. And no, of course, I don't believe for a second that the photo was taken by this random passerby. I mean, it was obviously a fake photo. And they couldn't even hold hands. This tells us something is happening. Now I think Meghan and Harry are starting to hate each other. Darren Stanton no. He says that despite this, the two clearly have enormous respect for each other and are there for each other through everything, but I won't buy it. Obviously, they aren't there for each other in everything. I mean, look what's happened recently. Harry went to the Well Child Awards alone. We didn't even know if Meghan would show up at Invictus. In fact, I don't think he would have done it. But then she thought she needed some good PR, and that's why she came up with this really ridiculous made-up story about milkshakes. At this point, Meghan and Harry suffered a series of setbacks. They had a horrible summer. I mean, let's be real, thus, both are unable to look in the mirror and truly take responsibility for their own problems. This is something we've talked about many times. So what will these people do when things start to go wrong? They will turn against each other. Of course, they will blame each other for their failures. Because none of them are willing to admit their guilt. And I think that will be the end of this relationship. You see, for the first 3 or 4 years of their marriage, they managed to blame the outside world for their problems. They were able to act as if they had a little safety bubble made up of just them. And the big bad world, especially Harry's family, was out to get them. So they had to huddle together to stay safe. But now this little story they made up won't work. I mean, they distanced themselves from Harry's family. Harry's family hasn't had contact with them for a long time. And at this point, they can't pretend they have no control over the narrative. They have their own PR teams who publish flattering articles about them daily. Yet people don't like them. They still do not achieve the success they hoped for. And I believe the devaluation phase has also begun. Recently, Meghan couldn't even bear to use his name or call him my husband like she had done so many times in the past. Now it comes down to this. I wonder if they still live together. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we start hearing more reports that they are living separately and Harry is staying in hotels. This is definitely a story worth watching. And you, what do you think of Meghan and Harry's wedding? Please let me know your opinion below in the comments section. As always, before you go, don't forget to like and share this video with anyone who might enjoy it. Also, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you never miss a new Princess Diana news update. Thank you very much for watching, and I will come back to see you soon in the next videos.